Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Macon-Bibb County Pre-Commission meeting. The time is now 5 o'clock. Today is Tuesday, December the 7th, and I'd like to officially call this pre-commission meeting to order. We do have a regular scheduled meeting at 6 o'clock tonight. We'll begin the initial meeting by the approval of minutes. That approval of minutes is for the Committee of the Whole from
It's from November 19th.
November 19th, 2021. Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Pro Tem Clark, second by Commissioner Lucas. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and be sent to consent agenda. We do have an announcement tonight on a film project announcement. Ms. Attorney Adriana Beavers. I apologize. There's a Christmas tree between you and I, so I cannot see you.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor Miller. I'm having a little bit of a mic issue. So there we go. I am happy to announce that we will be having a film project come to the county on December the 11th. They'll be closing the street, Poplar Street, underneath the bridge at 5th and Terminal Avenue, between those two. And that will likely be a closure only in the morning. However, they have reserved it for the whole day, so filming may run a little bit over. Their afternoon filming will actually be taking place at the Macon Mall. So that's an exciting feature coming up for the Macon Mall. Look out for that. The project is called Undefiled. So they filmed with us previously, and they're just wrapping up a few more scenes. So thank y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate you being here and sharing that information. Mr. Lucas?
Yes, thank you. Is there a flat fee that's paid by the companies that are filming in addition to the other expenses that are paid? I just want to keep track of that because we're so anxious sometimes to get these films, and then nobody else is giving everything away. Even Little Edenton is getting paid for the use of all of their public facilities. So I just wondered about that.
Yes, Commissioner, there is a $400 permitting fee. And then because they are closing one block of street to traffic, that is a $500 fee per day per block. So all in all, $900 was paid for this permit.
But there's no overall fee. It seems like some of the others, there was a large fee that they paid for the right to film, and then there were these other amounts that they had to pay as well.
Our only set fee is the $400 for every filming permit based on the needs of the shoot, whether they're asking for intermittent traffic control or the full closure of a block or usage of other items, equipment, or personnel. That would increase the amount of the permit, but it is just the $400 for the permitting.
Okay, are these, and I'm not going to prolong this, one more question. Are these companies taking advantage of the state credits that you get for filming in the state of Georgia? There are several kinds of credits that they get, which are really, really big incentives to do business. And if they're getting that advantage, then we should have that advantage too of getting those additional funds.
I'm not aware if they are taking advantage of the various credits available for filming in the state of Georgia. They generally coordinate with us through Visit Macon and Mr. Buzza with that organization. So he may have more information on that, but I do not at this time. I can find out if you'd like.
If you don't mind just checking, because most of them do take advantage. That's why Georgia is so, it's just booming as far as the film industry and the recording industry and all of that.
Yes, ma'am. I'll look into that. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. Commissioner Watkins, you have something?
Not about this. I had a item I wanted to add to the agenda at the appropriate time. Please make that motion.
You have anything to pre-commission since it's about? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Now would be the appropriate time, Commissioner Watkins, if you want.
No other questions about this?
You got a film question?
To her.
Commissioner Tillman?
The fees that you gave for the folks coming for the movie, is that fees for the movie industry, or how are those fees determined, or is that anybody?
That is anyone who wants to film in Macon-Bibb County. That's just for our filming permit. I don't think
Right.
it's set specifically by the industry. I believe that would have been a policy set, maybe with Macon, with visit making, and then maybe with the county.
Yeah, we've had this conversation a few times, and maybe I need to get with Visit Macon because there needs to be fees set based upon the amount of production fees and monies that's going to be spent on a production. Me, myself, or a crew, it costs us $900 to film, but somebody's going to come and use our streets and facilities and make possibly millions of dollars. I think it's time for us to get, and I know I did this last year. I asked our attorney's office to compare it, and Commissioner Lucas did too, to compare what was happening out of Augusta. That we need to base these fees, and I guess we'll get together on it. It's according to what's the production. That's what we need to start having a guideline for production. If it's multi-million dollars and so forth, those fees need to change. People come in here just to use our streets, and we're happy we don't get naming rights and credits in the film and so forth. That's not happening on these films. People come right in City Hall, and you know, I look on the film and it was North Carolina getting the credit because maybe they cut a deal like that in North Carolina. So like Commissioner says, we're happy to be getting these films, and I think we're just giving away everything and nobody's really paying attention. People coming in here making millions of dollars, and we're gonna just open it up to them for $900. That don't seem right, does it?
I think it, depending on how much of our spacing they use, the pricing does go up. But of course, looking at the income given, the income brought into the film, what percentage comes to the county would be in policies.
And I know Gary and you're gonna go back, but I'm saying we've got to look at levels. What level does your film categorize as far as a budget? Is it going to be a production of 200,000, 2 million, what have you? And so I think then those numbers can begin to be determined on those figures as opposed to just any celebrity. We don't know who's going to come in here. These big time celebrities, they're laughing at us. They're coming in here and they're spending $900 to do a multi-million-dollar film. I'm just saying that's a conversation that's why we're going to continue to raise these issues, because everybody becomes, you know, starstruck and happy because y'all know who's coming behind the scene and is happy to take a photo or whatever, and we give them the world. And so, you know, I'm like Commissioner Lucas. We gotta, you know, capitalize on this stuff. And so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tillman. Commissioner Watkins?
Yes, thank you. I want to make a motion to add a previously tabled item, item to provide ARP funds to support the census of people experiencing homelessness. It was tabled previously. I followed up a few times with stakeholders. I haven't really seen any negatives, and most folks thought it would be of benefit to the services that they're trying to provide. We typically do our point in time count in January, so I would like to be able to have the discussion on this issue if we're going to move forward, because it would be helpful. So we want to duplicate our services to do it when the state and grants expect us to do it, but just at a more enhanced pace.
Got a motion by Commissioner Watkins, a second by Commissioner Lucas. This is something that was tabled a couple weeks ago, a month ago? Okay. And you want to add that to pre-commission and then for a vote tonight? Okay. Having a motion and second, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Just for clarity, the motion is to remove from the table first, right?
That's correct.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Sounds like, okay, we'll do a roll call vote. We'll do a roll call vote. This is the, I think, I tell you what, before we do a roll call vote, if I ask Commissioner Watkins, I was not aware you wanted to add this specifically back to the agenda tonight, and I don't think anybody has a copy of it, but we kind of remember, go to some specifics about the amount of money that you wanted to spend and the process for this.
Apologies, I thought y'all had received my email. It was in there. You had mentioned that Chuck LeVay had made some correspondence. I don't know why I thought he was here tonight to talk about it, but I misunderstood you. But yes, it is requesting from, and I know there are copies I didn't want to print out because we made copies for everyone at the last meeting. But it's $250,000 from ARP funds for us to use our procurement process to create a survey, one that provides us with I guess more questions to ask people experiencing homelessness when we encounter them, and two, to work with our agencies to be the outreach workers to go out and actually find the homeless people or people experiencing homelessness where they may be, including hotels, but being a bit more aggressive about it. Our point in time count typically counts the number of beds that we have available at so this year it will count the beds at Brookdale and the beds at the Salvation Army and the number of people that are there for that particular day, and that's where it stops. Y'all have probably seen that it comes in almost like it's less than a page, but it doesn't. And so with the additional, it would be asking, how did you get here? What's your county of origin, your age, your gender, your race, and whatever else. It's been done in quite a few places. DePaul, USA has some background with it on the kind of things that are relevant, whether or not you're a veteran. But spending some time fleshing that out and then working with service providers and social worker types to actually make sure that we're getting the full number.
I know Commissioner Lucas had asked this to be tabled the last time. I'm not sure if any additional information has been submitted to anyone. Is this something we could possibly go ahead and put on the calendar for the 14th for discussion and vote on the 21st? So everybody can have copies. We'll have those sent by our clerk to that.
Sure. If y'all actually have questions, I'll answer them now. I can answer them then, but if that makes y'all more comfortable.
I think it's such an important issue, and I think it's something that's going to give us valuable information as we start to receive money, hopefully from this last bit of this other piece of federal legislation that deals with social infrastructure. I think we're going to have that kind of information. I think it's going to be mandated. So, I think we have a little bit of time, but I'd like to have more of an in-depth discussion and get more information rather than rushing it tonight. So,
if I may, because this was tabled previously on that same, I've sent out a few correspondences since that time. If y'all could give me a little insight as to what more information that you're looking for so I can have it available. I don't have to answer the question today, but if y'all could at least share it with me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Commissioner, I'm concerned about, you said there's you would like to have outreach involved here. I think that's potentially dangerous for people to go out in the streets and talk to homeless people, and you usually find them out at night, not so much in the daytime. I think it's a potential danger to them. And I want to know what the purpose of getting this information will do. What are you going to do with it? I mean, homeless people some are chosen to be there. So what are we going to do with this $250,000? Who are you going to pay? Who's going to monitor it? I just have concerns. Excuse me.
Excuse me, Ms. Wynn. We got a point of order, point of clarification with our attorneys.
I believe someone was trying to talk over me.
Commissioner Wynn, we got a point of order because I think we did have a motion on table and a second. We never took a vote. It was just a option that I had given Commissioner Watkins, and he wanted to take some questions. So I'm going to get clarification from our attorney how we should proceed on protocol, and then we'll move forward. Okay, just one moment. You still have the floor as soon as he answers this question. Attorney McNeil, can you answer that question for us?
What's the question, Mr. Mayor?
We've had a motion to untable and a second. Is that automatically a vote, or are we going to do questions at this time?
So a motion to remove from the table is non-debatable.
Just so I'm clear, I think my original motion was to add to the agenda.
Yeah, it's got to be untabled, I think, first.
If it was tabled, then you would untable it to put it on the agenda.
And all I was asking if there's a possibility that we not untable this, but to have it on Tuesday to a vote for a final vote on the 21st, I think, with some additional time.
I remember saying aye or nay to that vote.
Yes, sir.
So we voted. What was that final vote?
We didn't tally the vote because that was the
I'm
recommendation.
sorry. Again, is that appropriate?
I think it was tied at the time, but we have a new member that's shown up since then.
Okay, so it was a tie vote.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you voted no to.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I made a recommendation that we have this on the calendar for next Tuesday. We can send copies to everyone. They have a chance to review it, and then we'll vote.
If I'm after the vote had concluded, I then asked for follow-up clarification, which had nothing to do with the table motion because the vote had concluded, and then Commissioner Nguyen was providing it.
That's correct.
So, can she finish?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was trying to address this because we had a point of order of Commissioner Tillman. Now we've asked that question. The motion on the table has failed at this point, and now Commissioner Nguyen has got some questions for you concerning that, but we'll move from there. Commissioner Nguyen? Yes, sir.
I think I voiced some concerns there to Commissioner Watkins, and I don't know, you know, $250,000, who's going to monitor this? Who's going to oversee the handling of this? I think that was a question I came up with last time too. But I do have the concern of the people going out, outreach program. I think that's not a safe thing to do. I saw what I think was a homeless person on Forsyth today and looked very, very out of it, drugged out, waving hands at cars, and I don't think we should encounter people like that. Who are you going to get to do that? And then who's going to monitor it? And then what are you going to do with the information you get? I mean, we could use $250,000 to give it to the Brookdale Center and have more defined use with it. So I have concerns about what are we doing with this money?
Okay. Thank you for those questions. I don't want to get into the debate on that since it's not on the table, but
I
that was a
understand.
question for his consideration
Yeah, I'm
for
just
next week.
asking, telling him that's what
No,
my
that gave me
concerns
good
are.
perspective, though. I'll be
And
ready for
Commissioner
you.
Jones? Did you have any question in particular about this?
Yes, sir. I guess what I would be interested in when we do discuss it is what do you hope to accomplish by it, and who's going to administer it, and what are we going to do with that data, basically. So
Yes.
those would be my questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I will just add my 2 cents worth in there. I think this is something that needs to be done. I think there's probably some better pricing that's available in the $30,000 to $50,000 range. After I met with Representative Daybreak this week for some referrals on that. Also, I will tell you in advance of our MVP meeting that we're having a press conference tomorrow at 9:30, and it will be one of those items that's suggested as a recommendation from the strategic plan. So just to have that information ahead of time. Commissioner Tillman?
I just want to be sure that on the point of order, that I was not trying to speak over the commission, just offered a point of order just to get that in check. But it still amazes me that once a commissioner comes up with ways to spend the ARC money, everybody's chiming in to what they don't like, but you don't have any things or suggestions sitting around here what you want to spend the money on. And that's just interesting that every time, whether it's myself or Commissioner Watkins, said we want to spend some ARP money on something, it seems like if the mayor disagrees, everybody just got a question and want to chime in. So it's going to be interesting what happens in a couple of weeks. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. I think I did indicate that I supported this issue. I just
Right,
think
I
everybody
know.
needs to
That's
have
why I
the
said it's going to be interesting in a couple of weeks
Okay.
since you said you support it.
Right. And if we could just move on from there, since it's going to be untabled on next Tuesday for further discussion. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Watkins. All righty, we are going to move on with the rest of the agenda. And right now, we have a couple of appointments followed by some new alcohol licenses. We have a resolution reappointing Chris T., and I'm not going to say his last name because I always butcher it up. We all know Chris. Macon-Bibb County Board of Health. I understand it's also co-sponsored by Commissioner Paul Bronson, and I know I've got requests for both of this appointment from Mayor Pro Tem Clark as well as Commissioner Lucas. So this time I entertain a motion for approval. A motion for Commissioner Lucas, second by Commissioner Bronson, if I've heard that correctly. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
To recommend reappointment of Chris Savadawa to the Board of I can say it because I've served with him so long. But he is a wonderful young man. He's very, very concerned about the health of individuals in the community. He's now serving as the chair of the Board of Health, and so it was a pleasure to recommend his reappointment.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Mayor Pro Tem Clark.
I just want to echo Commissioner Lucas. Chris Chairman Savadawa has served this community, stewarded us through COVID and continues to steward us through COVID and what seems to be impending spikes. And I think it would be full-hearted of this commission not to not reappoint him. I think he's done a wonderful job, and just wanted to thank him and ask for y'all's favorable consideration. Yeah,
he
that's why
said
he's not
to
here.
say
He's a
he
Boy
was
Scout.
at the Boy Scouts with his son tonight, or he would be here.
Yeah. Well, thank both of you for those recommendations. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda tonight. Also, Commissioners, I have previously indicated to you by email to all the commissioners that we would have pre-commission tonight, followed by a vote tonight at 6 o'clock, and indicated to each of you that if you had any point that you didn't feel like you had sufficient enough time to vote tonight, that we would move that to next Tuesday's meeting date, unless there's some sense of urgency that was brought to your attention. To make sure that you know that you've got plenty of time. We do have a double meeting tonight with relatively short agenda items tonight, but they are all important. And if you have items that you like to more additional time on there, we will put those out for next Tuesday. This appointment here for B is going to be a resolution reappointing Darren Ussery, Patty Gibbs, and Bruce Freeman as members of the Macon-Bibb County SPLOST Advisory Committee. These are reappointments. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. Any discussion regarding those three folks that are renewals? We previously had 2 additional members there at our last meeting, so we'll be fully staffed then. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion? Ms. Lucas, yes.
Have one thing. I don't know 2 of these people who are on here, but I'm sure they'll serve well. But Darren Ussery has been a superb chair for the SPLOST Advisory Board. He has visited all of the rec centers. He's kept track of the progress on them. You know, if you want to know what's going on and you can't make a visit yourself, he will let you know. And so I really appreciate his concern for that. And so I would wholeheartedly recommend his reappointment.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. We do have a motion and second. No further questions. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion will be sent to consent agenda. We're going to move on with alcohol beverage licenses. I want each commissioner to make sure that at the bottom of the agenda, you should have several bullet points. Those bullet points explain to you the backgrounds that's been done on each and every one of these and the recommendations. We're going to start with the first one. The recommendation is going to be a denial, and the denial for that one is pursuant to OCGA 3-2-21, a distance requirement, as is this particular liquor store located at 4151A Mercer University Drive is in violation of the 100 yards from a church, and therefore that's a violation of state law, and that's why the attorneys will be recommending denial on that. This is a new alcohol beverage license for a P&P liquor store located at 4151A Mercer University Drive, Macon, Georgia. We have a motion for denial. Can I get a second? Got a second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Any questions? And I will say that this is state law and not Bibb County law. It has nothing to do with our liquor moratorium. This is strictly that there's a church located right next door that our attorneys have gone by and checked it out and reviewed that. So we have a motion and second. No further discussion. All those in favor of the denial, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thank you. The next item is a new alcohol beverage license for a Montpelier business located at 2793 Montpelier Avenue, Macon, Georgia. This is a gas station right next to used to be the fish port. I think it still may be. It met all legal requirements according to the information that I received, and the recommended action on this is for approval. So this time I entertain a motion for approval, if there is one. A motion by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. We have a motion and second. Commissioner Watkins.
I just find it interesting that the motions and the seconds come from people that ain't got nothing to do with those districts, but, yeah.
I think everybody has equal right, but I certainly
Yeah,
appreciate
I
it.
mean, we do, but I just find this is an interesting
Yeah.
point.
I suspect
Everybody whose district that it's in would have been perfectly cool with it filling. But
Okay.
thank you guys for keeping us on task.
No problem. Well, certainly they can vote it down as well, even if they made the motion. So at this time, we have a motion and second. All those in favor of this motion, I'm sorry, Commissioner Jones?
Just to remind all of us, we took an oath to do what's in the best interest of the entire county. So that's while we may not live in that district, if it meets all the legal requirements as far as I'm concerned, then I should vote yes. So that's my mentality.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Wynn, do you have a question?
I ditto what Commissioner Jones says. We don't vote for just things in our district. We're elected by our district, but we vote for the community. I represent the community. And if you know something about this that we shouldn't say no to, then let me know. But if it passes all the tests, right, then we have to say yes. I hate it, but we have to say yes. I mean, we have no choice.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. We do have a motion and a second. We have any further questions for the attorney who's standing before us? If not, all those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay? No. Seems like it's 7-2, if I'm correct. That motion passes 7-2. We'll go ahead and leave that on for the non-consent item tonight. We have new alcohol beverage license for Fajitas Mexican Grill, located at 6201 Zebulon Road, Macon, Georgia. They meet all the legal requirements. This is a restaurant, previously named Margaritas. Now it's Fajitas, and they've got a new application. They get a motion to approve. Commissioner Wynn has a motion to approve. We have a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any other discussion in this item? Okay. I need anything from the peanut gallery. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item D is a new alcohol beverage license for Food Mart located at 6230 Zebulon Drive, Macon, Georgia. This is a gas station right next to the Waffle House as soon as you get off of 475. It meets all the legal requirements, and the recommendation is for approval. Do we have a motion for approval? Motion to approve. A motion for Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner Wilder. David Wilder, okay. It happens to be in his district or close thereby. Maybe not the next district, but this one he is. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding this particular store? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Will be sent to consent agenda tonight. Item E is a new alcohol beverage license for City Food Mart, 758 Hazel Street, Macon, Georgia. This is a food mart that meets all the qualifications regarding fresh food requirements, etc. Directly behind, it's on Hawthorne Street in the triangle there, directly behind the Bibb County Law Enforcement Center and diagonal from the fire station. Do we have a motion to approve? Got a motion by Commissioner Wilder. We have a second. Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion in that item? Commissioner Watkins?
Did they finish becoming a food mart, or did we get a chance to go by there and check them again?
I'm Assistant County Attorney Frank Howard, just for the record. I went initially and saw that they had everything they were required, and then some extra items as well, such as cheese and butter, and but they did not meet the requirement for produce in my initial inspection on Wednesday of last week. However, I went back by the store on Friday, and they had everything they needed to meet the requirement as a food mart.
Again, thank you for your diligence.
You're welcome. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you to the City Food Mart for doing it. All right.
Commissioner Wynn, do you have a question?
I'm just curious, what kind of food items do they have, like oranges, apples, bananas,
Milk, eggs, bread, fresh meat, according to the list I'm looking at.
vegetables?
Commissioner, you want me to report what I observed while I was there? There
What
was
did you buy for your supper
right.
that night?
I did, for the record, I did purchase some Tom's dill pickle chips, which do not require are not required for a food mart, but they're very good. But they did have like refrigerated sausages and meats. There were cheeses, there was butter, which are extra other than the requirements, but there were eggs, there was bread there, some frozen cauliflower, and then multiple blueberries, fruits. I believe there were some onions, but there was something you could go make dinner with.
Well, that good. Check it off. I'm curious though, how often do we check these to see if they really continue to carry those things to become to stay a food mart? I know you don't have time to do that.
At the time of renewal.
I do not make any follow-up inspections, but that is something that could be done by code enforcement.
Thank you.
Who's over near Hazel? They can check it
Don't
out
tell him
next
that.
week.
I believe we have a motion and second. If no further questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Will be sent to the consent agenda tonight. Item 5A is an ordinance to amend Section 705 Policies and Procedures Manual so as to provide for a 27, I don't see him here right now. Oh, okay. 27-day work period for fire department employees to update the policy to reflect changes in overtime laws, sponsored by myself and Commissioner Paul Bronson. I have interim Chief Edwards going to be here tonight at 6 o'clock meeting, but we've got County Manager Keith Moffitt as well, Dr. Moffitt, as well as our County Attorney Michael McNeil, that can answer any question in this regard to give an explanation to that. So this time I'd like for one of you gentlemen to take the lead on an explanation for commissioners.
Yeah, good afternoon, commissioners. The simplistic is that we're adding a third shift to the fire schedule. It's something we've contemplated for years. We feel now is the proper time to do it in January, starting the new year. And so this will allow us to have more flexibility in the scheduling at the fire department.
I think just as a follow-up to that, I know that the interim Chief Edwards is in support of this. This 27-day was after numerous meetings in office and out of office with personnel all across the state of Georgia to be in uniformity with every other fire department in Georgia, because we lack that in this area. It will also require us to promote numerous folks, because you have a third shift, so allow opportunities to promote. It does not affect the particular hourly salary, but it will change some scheduling for some fire deputies. Commissioner Lucas, you have a question?
Yeah, you answered several of them with your remarks, but was there you're saying that this is the same schedule is used throughout the state and we're out of line?
That's correct. That is
Okay,
correct.
okay. All right, that answers one of my questions. The other thing, was there since this has been in place for so long, did we do any kind of sampling, any polling, anything to see if this would greatly disrupt? And I know this job can't be contingent upon somebody else's other stuff, but I do know a large number of our firefighters have separate businesses and part-time, had a lot of stuff. So I guess I'm trying to get at the disruption, how disruptive this would be to the workforce.
Well, no, we did not do an official survey, but we have heard from several of them. I've received majority positive. You are correct that some are looking at that, but this will allow them to have complete weekends. I think every third weekend they will have a Saturday, Sunday instead of the split that they've been since forever. But again, this puts us in line with other departments across the state. And again, we looked at all that. We considered all those options. There are numerous examples I can give you of how this will be of a benefit to the county, but for the most part, it is promotions, as the mayor said, possible reduction in overtime, because we will have that additional shift. So those are some of the benefits of us doing this.
Okay, since there's a reduction in overtime, but is there an increase in, what's the increase in the line for salaries?
That is what we will be calculating in January. As of right now, we're anticipating there will not be a budget increase, because we will be able to absorb that from the use of overtime that will go into the salary line item. So the reduction in overtime will absorb the increase in the salaries.
What's the overtime amount? You remember?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, I'll get it later. But
Yeah, I think the general consensus is of approval from the fire department in general. I think the other reason that we looked at this as far as a recruitment tool and a retention tool, because we lost a lot of deputies that were going to other places that had this particular third shift. And I think Bibb County is the only one that does not have this shift, or one of the very few. So it allows us to be competitive with them to recruit and retain the very best fire department. Certainly it helps keep overtime in check, but it allows a lot more opportunity for people to upward mobility, and is something they look forward to. Commissioner Tillman?
I did not know we were the only ones without a third shift. It just never came up. The discussion just never came up.
Commissioner Tillman?
Yes, sir. So we don't get a consensus by show of votes through those departments. and we didn't consult commission members. That's why it's important to have a committee of public safety, because the sheriff department and the fire department, we always have tried to treat them both equally. And you didn't get that information from them, but you say they're the only ones in the state. So, here's a question. Planning and zoning in Macon-Bibb is the only one in the state of Georgia that the commission does not oversee. Are you changing that also?
No, sir, I wish I could, but no.
Okay, so who made the decision that you were gonna change this and you don't get a drop in the bucket to say, give us y'all true opinion? Because we've been receiving the calls about it. Actually, a couple of commissioners even called me to ask me, had I heard and gotten some information? Because, see, that department has a lot of men and women in it, and everybody's not going to make a call. Everybody's not going to follow up. Some people are more laid back than others. And so I can tell you that they don't like it. My consensus is they don't like it. So when we come out here and we say, we're the only ones in the state that's doing that, we say the same thing about planning and zoning. Maybe we're the only ones doing it right, and everybody else may be doing it wrong.
I would think that even you would agree that that's not a true statement.
Commissioner Tim, let me make.
So I yield on that.
Thank you, sir. Let's make a recommendation here. If we could just hold off on voting for this item, I'll get a motion in a second after we come out of executive session during pre-commission. We'll have time to do that, and I think we'll come back and take a vote if everybody's in agreement with that after executive session. So we allow for conversation out here, but sometimes we get very close. So we'll talk about that in executive session, come back, and take further motions on that. We're going to move on to the next item. That item is an ordinance amend section 5.04 Policies and Provision Manual as to provide for Juneteenth National Independence Day as a new county holiday. Would someone like to make that motion? A motion by Commissioner Bronson, second by who's over here? Commissioner Watkins, is that you? Commissioner Watkins, any discussion regarding this item? Commissioner Lucas, you have a question or a comment?
And it's being proclaimed all over the country, and it is celebrated here by a lot of families, and you ought to kind of Google it and find out, if you don't already know, the origin of it, and you would want to celebrate.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucas. Pro Tem Clark.
I just think this is a fantastic idea, and I'd love to sign on as an author.
Yes, sir. We do have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda tonight. We have a couple items for indication of support tonight, two of those. Item 6A is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an indication of support with the Georgia Department of Transportation for the potential, keyword potential, installation of a roundabout at the intersection of SR 247 and Anthony Road, otherwise known as Pionona and Anthony Road, right? Right there next to the auto shop. That's correct. Yes, churches, right there at that location. And we have another one on Anthony Road on the next items on the agenda. This is just a letter of support. It doesn't obligate us to do anything. We'll get drawings and come back at a later time to discuss all the other information. This is something I know has been in the works for a while through this commission, through GDOT. As I received it, notice of it in my first meeting with GDOT last year after the election, but before swearing in. So that's my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Pro Tem Clark. Pro Tem Clark, would you like to say something in that regard as well?
No, it's okay.
Okay. We do have a motion and a second. So there's no further questions at this time. Commissioner Wynn?
These are just, we're just voting for our support for the potential, right?
That's correct.
These are not set in stone yet.
I don't
Is
know
that
that anything's set in
correct, or-
stone yet. There may be some funding requirements by someone at some point in time, but yeah.
What?
This is just a letter of support to move to the next step. They will give us some drawings and documents, et cetera. One obligation we will have, I think, is to keep the area cut. I believe one of these particular areas here, whether it's this project or the next one, is also going to be part of a larger scheme that GDOT is doing on the road for some traffic calming devices, some other things dealing with pedestrian safety. It'll be the next item and not this one here. but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Are these roundabouts right in a row? I mean, I know where Anthony Road and 247 Pinona is. 74 is Thomaston Road?
That's correct. The next one
and
is.
247 or Pinona?
Right.
So they'll almost be right in a row.
No, they're about a mile from each other.
Right.
They're,
So it looks like we're going towards more and more roundabouts in the community, and I guess that's what they're looking at for safety purposes.
they're recommending that for safety reasons, but yes, ma'am. We do have a motion and a second. Commissioner Clark, you have a further follow-up?
Yeah, I just wanted to ensure the public around the area that there's going to be a time for public comment from GDOT, similar not to the scale of the mitigation efforts in Pleasant Hill. So I just wanted to let that know because I know that there's the public will be interested in learning about that and giving input. So I just wanted to ensure that.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, because of the work of the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, that this commission, well, that's part of our charter, they've been working diligently for a number of years on some safety features on our roadways. And GDOT has listened, apparently, to some of the things that that group has said. And so I think a number of these things are coming as a result of some of that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Watkins, you have a question?
Just wanted to add on both of these, the lane mathematics in both areas are in great need of improvement. In front of the churches, we have a 2-lane road that turns to a 1 that causes problems in between Salim's and churches, and that the Columbus Road one is that triangle right in front of Department of Labor. That's when you're coming into Montpelier and Mercer, also causes a lot of problem, and it's hard to see when people are merging. So changes are needed, and I think they've come up with the roundabout may be the best solution for both.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. We do have a motion and a second, correct? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda tonight. Item B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an indication of support with the Georgia Department of Transportation for the potential installation of corridor-wide improvements between the intersections of SR 74 and Anthony Road at SR 74 and Columbus Road. That's my motion. Can we get a second? Second by Commissioner, is that Wynn first? Jones? Mr. Jones, any questions or concern regarding that item? This is the one I was talking about. There's other road improvements to be made with that. Commissioner Tillman?
And this is the one that Mr. Mayor and I had some conversation discussions on, and I think sometimes it's important. And he kind of enlightened me on some things, but although I will tell you the cost that will be associated with this is we own, I believe we own those traffic lights, those poles, and so there's going to be some work from us because of the relationship we have with Georgia Power. So it's just not going to be free and clear, but I don't think it's going to cost much. I think we control, do we own the traffic lights, or do we control those traffic lights?
State route, that's a state route there. We will have some electrical costs there, but I'm not sure that we'll be purchasing any lights.
Because I often wonder how is it shared on the state road that we pay, most folks don't even realize that we pay all these power lights and so forth. So that is just curious, how do we share the electricity on these state roads, because they ask us to do certain things. So that's just out of curiosity, because some people will ask those questions and you'll be thrown off, be like, well, I never thought of that. And so let me find that information out for you.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda. Item 7A is a resolution to approve the 32nd Amendment to the 2018 SPLOST project timeline and budget as presented by the SPLOST project manager. Those items have previously been sent to commission. Do we get a motion to approve on that? Motion by Commissioner Lucas, second by Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, to be sent to consent agenda. Item 7B is an ordinance to authorize the appropriation of $2,211,420 from the 2018 SPLOST proceeds for the payment of costs related to capital improvements at Mattie Hubbard's Jones Park, Bloomfield Park, and the Macon Coliseum, which includes the ice rink. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. And someone else asked about sponsoring that as well, co-sponsoring? Pro Tem Clark, anyone else? Okay. Commissioner Tillman?
I'm just hoping over the next week or so that we get a breakdown, because I know some money is coming out of different districts, and so I just need to make sure that we update the public and just be sure what is the amount of money that we still have over in District 9 for that, because I think we are being gracious and sharing some funding to help with these projects as well. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, we anticipate the entire commission getting together to potentially reallocate funds based on your wishes of items that wasn't specifically included in the SPLOST, but were recommended projects by commissioners at that time. So you'll have an accounting of that, where the money's at, and if you choose to move some, where you would like to move that to. So we certainly do that, and thank you for that question.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Watkins?
I was just making sure that I understand. The $250 for new basketball and tennis courts, that's for complete resurfacing, digging it up, replacement.
Yeah, yes, sir. Just in response to the question you emailed me today, the same thing is true now. And I know the public wants to know that. We looked at the possibility of just resurfacing or repairing those, the tennis court and the basketball court. They're beyond repair, and from a longevity standpoint, it doesn't make good economic sense to do that, to just patch it. So we have a price from ICB to do those both from scratch, and we would recommend that to make sure that we have the durability necessary for that project. Thank you, Ms. Watkins. We have a motion second. We do have a motion and a second. If no further questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item 8A is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the People's Advocacy Group in an amount of $5,000 with no local match to be used by the Macon-Bibb County exclusively for the purchase of GAR membership, sponsored by Commissioner Virgil Watkins. Commissioner Watkins, if you just...
Yeah, this is a follow-up. We passed the equity resolution a couple weeks ago, and part of that was joining this organization, the Government Alliance for Racial Equity. I think I sent you all, there's a information session on the 18th that we can zoom in on to get a better understanding. But at that time, I had mentioned that there would be no cost to the county, and this is making good on that cost. We have a grant, sub-grant from the People's Advocacy Group, but originally from the E Pluribus Unum Foundation to aid us in this activity.
And that $5,000 is a specific amount addressed for this particular membership. As part of the fellowship for Commissioner Watkins. So I assume that's your motion, Commissioner Watkins. Can we get a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We do have a couple of grants on here. These grants are as follows. A resolution authorizing acceptance of Criminal Justice Coordinating Council Victims, VOCA, continuation award allocation for 2021-22 for the amount of $108,841 with no local match, with local match fund requirements having been waived to the grant cycle to the Macon Judicial District Attorney's Office. Commissioner Bronson would like to be added as a sponsor of that. Would you like to make that motion as well? Got a motion by Commissioner Bronson. Can we get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn, I heard first, I think. Was that Wynn? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda tonight. Item C is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of Criminal Justice Coordinating Council's Victims Crime Act, VOCA, continuation award allocation for 21-22 in the amount of $165,711 with local match fund requirements having been waived for the grant cycle of Bibb County Solicitor's Office. Commissioner Bronson would also like to be a co-sponsor of that. Anyone like to make that motion? A motion by Commissioner Bronson. Can we get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn on the gun again. Any questions regarding this item? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right. This is a resolution of authorizing the county's submission of an application for a community development block grant, coronavirus funds, to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. A couple of meetings ago, we had a long discussion regarding the food bank. As part of that funding requirement, we had a 25% match and the other 75%, whatever the amount was going to be. We got information from that grant that we need to have an official resolution requesting that by this commission. So this is the resolution requesting that we be allowed to submit that. They be allowed to submit that on our behalf. So this is what this is for. That's my motion. Can I get a second? second by Commissioner Lucas. Any further questions in regarding that item?
As co-sponsors on that, that's an important one.
Okay.
So
Commissioner
we
Lucas would
really
like to
do
make
need to have all of our names on.
a friendly request that we have 100% signature on that. So if you choose to do so, please let our clerk know. Thank you, Mr. Lucas. We do have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item 9A is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for construction with Sam Hall and Sons for the renovation of Gateway Park in the amount of $166,413 to be paid from the Capital Improvement Fund, Parks and Beautification Building and Building Improvements line item. Commissioner Bronson, you like to make that motion? Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Bronson. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. Any question regarding the Gateway Park? I think the money has previously been appropriated, and this is actually spending the money with the company that was selected. Okay. Commissioner Watkins?
Gateway Park, that's the going over the bridge.
Yeah, can you put that picture back up there?
And I guess I think it's been pointed out that I know it was due to the interstate construction. Yeah, the Otis Redding statue. This includes replacing it, or
No, the foundation will be moving that and placing that statue in an alternate location of their choosing.
Okay, it's no longer be facing the water. Great water location.
The foundation will be responsible for making that decision, but that's what I've been told. Okay, we got a comment from Attorney McNeil.
I just want to clarify, the caption that's on the screen mentions the Capital Improvement Fund, but some of this is also coming out of SPLOST. So $99,885 is coming out of the CIP fund, and then the balance is also coming out of SPLOST.
Commissioner Wynn?
Yeah, I did want to ask where the statue was going to be too. I was curious about that because it was missing. But the bridge has been painted with some pink painting on there. Are they going to do anything? I mean, is there who painted that and who gave authority to paint that? Are we going to paint over it?
I have
it
no,
doesn't look real attractive as an entrance.
I've got no response as far as the pink bridge, but I
yeah.
do,
Hot
we
pink.
don't control the statute. That's the foundation, and their decision on where to place that will be revealed at their
You don't know that
timeline.
yet either?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
So what exactly are we doing there then?
Commissioner, I can answer that for you.
Please.
It looks like we are installing soil erosion measures, demolishing some existing improvements, doing some grading and installation of dirt to repair and level out the site, construction of a new sidewalk and plaza, deconstruction and reconstruction of the arch, installation of irrigation and sod, and landscape planting is what is included in the contract.
The plaza will be included in that.
That is what is in the contract. There's going to be a construction of a new sidewalk and plaza.
Are they taking it down completely and just doing it or renovating it?
I'm not positive on that.
Or has it been washed away?
I know it includes leveling. They're going to work it all out with there's already designs planned for it, and they're going to have it done to design.
Who's done the design?
Wembley Trailwell's been working in conjunction with Michael Goodson with Parks and Beautification.
Will we be able to see that design before?
I'm sure you will if you haven't already.
I don't-
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Watkins, you have a question?
A little stuck on the statue. I remember before the construction of the interstate started, it was there, and it was a focal point of our city, a thing that we took pride in. And I was always under the impression that after the construction was done and it was safe to return them, that we would put it back. And it seemed like today you just dropped on me that that's not true. So I was hoping for a little bit more background as to what's happening with that.
I can't give you any background. The foundation owns that statue, and they've decided to move that to protect it from any vandalism and other issues they had at that particular park. And my understanding is they're going to decide where to put it at, and they're going to release that information in the near future. I'm not privy to that information, so I can't give you that information.
So, okay, so if I'm tracking you right, the move of the statue was not because of the work been ongoing on the interstate.
I'm not privy to that information. I suspect it has something to do with that and some other potential issues with that particular park.
Okay, so the option to have the statue return after the construction, when we redo it, that was clearly conveyed to the foundation, and they opted that they would like to place it someplace else instead of returning it to its original location, would they allow us to place it?
That is my understanding, that the sole discretion to move that back or to not move it back was with the foundation's choice, not our choice. We certainly would welcome it back in the park, and there's been nothing that we've done to indicate we would not want it there, but they own the statue, so they're gonna decide where they wanna put it at.
Okay, okay.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Jones had his light on first.
Yes, sir. If I may, if I can backtrack a minute on 7B, and somebody had written me an email about, from Macon Tennis Association, they had a program that evidently resurfacing of courts were going to be at L.H. Williams as well, and that was struck. Do you know anything about that, or does Dr. Moffitt maybe?
I don't know, we're not gonna talk about that right now, we're gonna talk about this right here, and we'll go back to
Okay.
that at a later time, thank you.
I'll ask you.
Commissioner Wynn, do you have a question on this particular issue? No, thank you.
Well, no.
Your light was on when nobody's home. Thank you. All right. We do have a motion and a second, I believe. Motion and a second. Commissioner Watkins got another question.
Yes. So, again, did you mention that there was already a plan? So will there be a statue to replace the old statue or some type of thing for people to look at? Or is it, is there a picture? I didn't see a picture pop up of what the new plans were. Do y'all have one? Or
What you have in your package is all that I have. I know that Wimberley Treadwell has been working with Michael Glisson to get that part back, but I do know that I'm not aware of any particular statute there that's going to be going there, except for Carl Redding and her group requested that to be moved, I think at their expense, and stored until a suitable location can be found by them.
okay, so does voting for this today in any way lock us into a design?
This is for specific work to be done that's already been agreed upon. So voting for this is, I'm sorry? I do not have that. That wasn't. This was just for the construction that was already agreed on.
At this time, if you want to entertain a motion to table this, we'll put it back on the calendar for next Tuesday to get some additional information from Commissioner Watkins. I see a lot of head shaking, so if someone will make that motion in a second. Got a motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Watson to table. It's non-debatable motion. All those in favor of the motion to table this particular item, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, got one nay, and that motion will go tabled, and we'll revisit that on next Tuesday. We need to put a reminder on our calendar to untable that. And we'll get with Michael Glisson to make sure we have that information for him. Okay, we'll move on to, we have amending the code, which is the minimum distance for COAM. Commissioner Watkins, do you have any interest on doing the same thing on that for next Tuesday? This, the minimum distance for COAM. I know a commissioner would like to make a motion to table that. Okay. Well, I guess that means no. I asked if you had any interest because I know that there's a couple of commissioners that want to make a motion to table that because we've been receiving a lot of calls this week on that item. And I want to know if you had any interest of doing that so we can have a more full conversation next Tuesday. Okay, we'll move forward, sir. We have a ordinance to amend Chapter 7, Article 2, Division 22, Section 75512 of the Code of Purpose imposing additional minimum distance requirements on businesses offering coin-operated amusement machines to the public. That's a motion sponsored by Commissioner Watkins. Is there a second or alternate motion? Second by Pro Tem Clark. Any further discussion? Commissioner Wynn?
No, this must be an
Light still
old
on.
one.
Commissioner Howell?
In the interest of time, because we are at 6 o'clock, I don't have a big heartburn with this ordinance. However, I do have some heartburn with the wording and the distances and that kind of stuff that's involved with this. And I would like to table this until we can all sit down and discuss it so that we know exactly what it says. This is a big step in our decisions here on coin-operated machines, and I would like to have time to talk about it and not feel like we're rushing through it.
Got a motion for table for Commissioner Howell. Do we have a second? That sounds like second by several folks. We have a motion and a second to table, non-debatable motion. All those in favor of tabling this motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. Motion is hereby tabled, and we'll reintroduce that next Tuesday. I know we had a couple of people that requested to speak on that tonight. It will not be on the agenda tonight, but you want him to hang around to speak tonight on that? Okay. If you want to hang around for our meeting, which will probably get to that in about 30 minutes or so, feel free to do that, and we'll call on you to speak and address the board. But we will not hear this again until next Tuesday. Okay. We have an item for transfer of property. Then we go into executive session for a short time and come back out, and we'll start our regular scheduled meeting a little bit late tonight. This is a resolution to authorize the mayor to transfer approximately 2.44 acres of undeveloped land located at 815 Riverside Drive to the Urban Development Authority. That's my motion. Can I get a second? A second by Commissioner Jones. For reference, you can see on your picture right here, this is Riverside Drive near the waterfront next to the Burger King. We traditionally used the Urban Development Authority to transfer property, and they actually promote and market this for various projects. This is one of those situations there that they've asked us to do that. This is a project that was formerly the bus transit section there that's been remediated by the county, and now it's ripe for development. And we will be asking you to approve that. So that's my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second by Commissioner Wynn, and Commissioner Watkins, you have a question? Or not?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Commissioner Jones, you have a question? And Commissioner Lucas, you really have a question?
Yes, yes, I do. That land, I remember a lot of discussion and a lot of study, a lot of testing that took place on all of that property along there, because there was a big project that was planned for it. It was found that the land was contaminated. There was an old gas company that had been there, and a number of other things that had been there. And so we went through like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the testing on it, and so I would like to find out the results, what's going on with that land now. Has all the testing been completed? Have they found that it's now, land that can be used for whatever? I'm assuming there's going to be something placed on it, and it was my understanding that you could only place certain kinds of things, nothing where people would be inhabiting buildings for any length of time. That you remember all of that. So I would like to be brought up to date on all of that, especially the testing, and then we're right at the river,
Right.
too. So I'm sure we would get more information, but I just want it for the record.
Yeah.
To
Thank you. I do know that all that area has been remediated. There's been conversations with the utilities involved as well, because if you remember, there are several utilities that had claims there if it becomes any type of residential property. All the property has been remediated pursuant to all the guidelines for the EPA, EPD. There's some minimal restrictions there, and anyone purchasing this property would take it subject to those restrictions. This is the first effort to be able to transfer that to Urban Development Authority so they can market or sell that property. And I believe all the remediation has been done pursuant to the project that's there.
Okay, is that there was a contract that we had with someone who was doing the testing and reporting back to us? Is that person still on board and still engaged in the process?
They
That
are.
can give us a final, they are?
They are, and they've
Okay.
given us a final report, and therefore we move forward with this transfer to UDA.
Okay, at some time in the future, can we get
Yes, ma'am.
kind
And
of
I
what?
suspect that this project will be brought back for you in the very near
Okay.
future, and you'll get all that information. Thank you. Commissioner Tillman, do you have a question?
Yes, Commissioner Lucas, that project that was trying to be residential and businesses on that particular property, and I think you could only go so deep as far as digging, and the residential was not available because of the land contamination on it, but it was suitable for building a building, and businesses could be on that property. And there was at least $150,000 spent on that particular property. So I think we all look forward to hearing about it, because that was land undiscovered or undeveloped by Dr. Kirby Gotsi on that property. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for the information. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda tonight, and I'll make a note to follow up on that, Commissioner Lucas. We do have one item we need to discuss in the executive session. Don't expect that to take 5 or 10 minutes. We do have many people in the audience today, including those who are going to get recognized from Rutland High School. And I ask you to patiently wait just a couple of moments while we retire to the back, and we'll be back momentarily. We'll come back, we'll vote on that item if we reach an agreement, and then at that time, we'll immediately go into our regular scheduled meeting tonight, where we begin like we always do with the prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Tillman, do you have questions?
Yes, motion to suspend the 6 o'clock meeting and go to Tokyo Alley for the Tennis Association Christmas party.
All right. Y'all go, we'll continue.
Second.
This time we'll have a motion to go into executive session for the consultation with a county attorney or other legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation, settlement, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought against Macon-Bibb County and all others allowed by law. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Pro Tem Clark. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We're now in executive session. I get a motion to come out of executive session? Motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Lucas. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We now have executive session at 6:22. We have one item to visit from the committee meeting earlier. Let me get that. 5A. Okay. Item 5A is an ordinance to amend section 7.05 of the Policies and Procedure Manual so as to provide a 27-day work period for fire department employees to update the policy to reflect changes in overtime laws. Commissioner Bronson, would you like to make that motion? Motion by Commissioner Bronson. We get a second? Second by Pro Tem Clark. This time, Commissioner Watkins would like to ask some questions. I'd ask Interim Chief Edwards to approach. Commissioner Watkins, the floor is yours.
And you covered it back there. It's the same question. Just if you could explain for us concisely what is the current scheduling of the fire department today and what that'll be in the future if this proposal passes.
Yes, sir. Currently today, we're working a 24-hour on-duty, 24 off-duty schedule where an employee works every other day with a set of long days or off days in a 2-week pay cycle, which allows that employee to work 5 days every 2 weeks. The schedule that we're looking at and wanting to go to is a 3-4 schedule where the employee will work 24 on, 24 off, 3 days in a row, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on. They'll get 4 days off in a row after that. And this will put us in line with what other fire departments throughout the United States work. Their schedules are either 24/48 or a 3-4 shift schedule, which is what we want to implement here in Macon-Bibb.
And I understood you correctly. Currently, we have roughly 350 firefighters, and between the shift and the third shift, it would not cause a change in that?
Right, we're budgeted for 348. However, we are short firefighters right now. But this schedule, we'll be able to implement this schedule using the same number of firefighters or the same number of personnel to cover the third shift. However, it will open up some opportunities for promotions because I have to cover officers on that third shift from the chief level all the way down to the sergeant level. So it's a great opportunity for our firefighters to have the opportunity to be promoted in the very near future if we're able to implement this.
And I guess my last question in terms of, I think you mentioned also, and it got covered earlier, that the savings from overtime that occurs because of the off-on schedule will offset any other costs. So the salaries of everybody that's an employee will stay the same, even though it may be less overtime but more base salary?
Their firefighter base salary will remain at what they're hired at today. It may affect overtime, but that's because of the way we're going to the 27-day pay cycle. But if an employee is hired at his base salary, he will remain with his base salary at this new schedule. We're not.
Because he's still getting the same
salaries.
number of hours. It's just happened in a different way over.
He's actually getting a little bit less hours, but he is being able to keep his base salary.
Okay.
He's actually going to probably be working less.
All right. No employee would be mad at that.
Yes, sir.
I yield. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Tillman?
Call for the question.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve? Got a motion by Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner Wilder. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda tonight. Thank you. We're going to move right into the commission meeting. So at this time, we will adjourn the committee meeting and move on to the regular scheduled meeting tonight. So I'd like to welcome everyone here for our regularly scheduled meeting tonight. We're a little bit behind, but the time is now 6:25, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, December the 7th, and the first item of the business is to call this meeting to order, and we will begin like we normally do with Pastor Willie Finney Jr. Would you please come forward and lead us in a prayer? And then that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Pastor.
Mr. Mayor, commissioners, people of Macon, shall we pray? Father God, we thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. Thank you for bringing us here tonight, God. Thank you, God, for our commissioner, our mayor, our leaders of the city. We're praying, God, that you just touch their hearts, God, and move on them, God, to do what's right for the people, for this community, for this city. God, we thank you for them, God, for being put in this position so they can act on the behalf of the people. God, give them strength and courage, God, to continue, God, to move forward, working collectively to do the right thing for us as a people. We thank you for them. Continue to be with them and bless this meeting to go well and peaceful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. I appreciate your patience tonight, and we have a very important presentations, but we're going to begin with the approval of the minutes from the October 19th, 2021 regular commission meeting. Can we get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Wynn, second by Commissioner Bronson. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thank you very much. We have a presentation tonight. That's a proclamation to the students from Rutland High School who participated in the countywide cleanup. It's going to be presented by Commissioner Bill Howell. I understand we have our principal there, Ms. Wendy Pooler, with us as well. Thank you for being here. Commissioner Howell, we'll let you proceed accordingly.
Mr. Mayor and Commission, in the essence of time, we're going to kind of do this a little different than we usually do. We also have a letter of appreciation from both the mayor and myself, and a little something extra for everybody that participated. So I have my lovely assistant here going to read off names while I hand out certificates. A proclamation from the Office of the Mayor of Macon-Bibb County. Whereas Macon-Bibb County recognizes the need to protect the health and beauty of our city and communities, and whereas Clean Streets Matters is an effort to identify and clean up neighborhoods plagued by illegal dumps, piles of trash, blight, an initiative rolled out in January 2021 and made its way into Macon-Bibb County classrooms, and whereas on October the 23rd, 2021, a group of students and teachers from Rutland High School took the interest in their District 7 to help clean up Macon-Bibb by participating in a community-wide cleanup and clearing our littered roads and highways, and whereas
the students and teachers are Montane Williams, Nicolette Johnson, Bailey Zunga, Haley Esco, Quinicia Reese, Michaela Davis, Madison Horton, John Gutierrez, Zach Stewart, Tanner Held, Alex Perez, Anthony Guerrero, Jordan Dumas, Nathan King, Keith Johnson, Alfred Guerrero, LaPortia Hughley, Mariah Horton, Ryan Chamas-Baca, Trinity Rattery, Kalisha Bluford, Dr. Wendy Pooler, Alicia Bluford, Sergeant Major Keith Allen, Dr. Tansy Kilcrease, and Master Sergeant William Strausel.
Whereas the students gave up their Saturday to support the health and beauty of our city in hopes for a safe environment and now and in the future, and whereas this group of students has set forth the standard of how all students and all schools should participate in addressing litter in their community and be an example to the schools for other schools to follow, I hereby, Lester M. Miller, do hereby proclaim December the 7th, 2021 as Rutland High School Cleanup Day in Macon and Bibb County, and urge all citizens to take the same initiative that these students took in committing to keep our streets clean. In witness hereof, I have hereby set forth my hand and caused the seal of the consolidated government to be affixed this 7th day of December 2021. Lester M. Miller, Mayor. And Mayor Miller, if you would come down. Anybody else want to be in the picture, please.
So if we can get a few of y'all to come on this side of the tree, directly on this side, and maybe two of the students, we can have kind of a evened out thing. Hold on, there's too many of y'all. Let me back up.
Once again, thank you for being here tonight. I know you have to run out for some senior events or some games to go to. Appreciate you. What a wonderful thing we have kids in our school system doing the right thing. And I was fortunate enough to be there with them along with Commissioner Howell and others on a Saturday morning bright and early out there on the side of the street on Hawkbridge Road, picking up trash and other litter and debris in their area, leading by example. So we certainly appreciate everything they do and they continue to do out there in that area. We're going to move on to item 7, which is public comments on agenda items. We have one on agenda items and one on non-agenda items. The first one is agenda item from Mr. Blake Horn. Mr. Horn still with us? He left? Okay. Okay. Guess he'll be back on 21st. Mr. Horn was a gentleman who wanted to speak on the COAM machines that was here earlier, and we told him we move that to next Tuesday. So we're going to move on now. We have an item of new business, which is going to be your 10C. We moved that from the previous meeting that we had earlier today at 5 o'clock. This is new alcohol beverage license for Montpelier business located at 2793 Montpelier Drive, Macon, Georgia. Can we get a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Jones. You got a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. We do have a motion and a second. You see a picture on your screen of that area. They met all qualifications to get a license renewal, and that was the recommendation. So we have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries 8 to 1, 9 to 1. Thank you. 8 to 1. I didn't vote. We're going to move on to old business. I don't think we have any old business tonight. So we have a consent agenda. The consent agenda tonight, beginning on item 10, will consist of all items with the exceptions of previous items that were tabled earlier today. One would be the Gateway Park and the COAM machines, so we'll be excluding those items. But this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as published and discussed earlier. I get a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We do have one item for public comments on non-agenda items. Mr. Lewis L. Coley Jr. Mr. Coley still here? Okay, guess Mr. Coley's not here. We have no items tonight. We have several items that we referred to the Committee of the Whole for next Tuesday, including a couple of tabled items that we have there. You'll receive some additional information between now and then. Keep in mind that we have one more meeting after next Tuesday. That will be the 21st. We also would like to schedule a visit for commissioners to a site or two on Tuesday if schedule permits us to do that. One of those will be the new Hotel 45 directly across the street, and the second one would be the convenience center, at least one, if not convenience center 1 and 2, if time permitting. So that's all the items we have on the agenda tonight. We have no need to go into executive session, and there's no public comments on the agenda items. So this time, no further business brings, Commissioner Tillman?
Point of personal privilege, when you
I'm
get to that
sorry.
point, sir. And I
Please
think
got
we do have another item.
We do have another item, I think I skipped over. So, and I asked it to be put on this item tonight. So, Commissioners, I wanted to have all these lovely people sitting on the front row visit with us tonight, and I should have did that earlier this meeting, but we got started a little bit late. So I want to begin by introducing each of them, or reintroducing each one of those here tonight. And at this time, I was given this information out about a quarter, so I got to pull it back up again. Well, I'm just going to go into what we got there. Commissioner, you want to go ahead and put the person's name up on screen? I'll introduce. That'll make it easier. At this time, I'd like to call Reginald Brown. If you just come forward, Mr. Brown. What I wanted to do is give you a indication of folks that we hired this year. He's our Chief Informational Officer, otherwise known as IT Director. He's one of the gentlemen that I hired this year, and we selected. He took office. As many of you know, you get reports from the county manager each month, and he prepares part of his report that you get in there, and I wanted him to be here tonight. If you don't mind, I'll want to let you come up here and sit to the side, and we'll introduce everybody one by one. Our next person is going to be Dr. Henry Ficklin. Dr. Ficklin is no stranger to Macon-Bibb County. He was one of our first hires, and you approved refunding this position and naming it the Executive Director of Community Affairs, and we certainly appreciate that. He's done a wonderful job leading our community so far, and I look forward to what he's going to bring over the next several years. Dr. Ficklin also provides reports and does many things, including he reads proclamations very well, amongst other things, but he is in direct contact with the community, has his boots on the ground, and does a wonderful job representing the mayor's office out in the community. Dr. Ficklin, thank you for being here, and if you'll take your place as well. Our next person is Derek T. Jordan. Derek Jordan is the Director of Human Resources. He's been with us for a short time, but he started working immediately. As you remember, we approved him a few months ago. And Derek, appreciate everything you're doing so far. I appreciate your support. You've had a monumental task in the Human Resources Department, and what I will say is I haven't heard much, and that's usually a good sign, sir. So we appreciate you. Looking forward to each and every one of you after the new year presenting a small presentation of your work and your advancements this year, so this commission can stay abreast of all the wonderful things that you're doing. Our next person is going to be Franklin Lawson. Franklin Lawson is the Director of Procurement. This is a new department that you allowed us to create in the very beginning, so we can make sure that we keep abreast of all the procurement laws. You recently approved some changes that he requested to be made to make us more efficient government on the procurement. He's done a wonderful job. He's almost fully staffed now, if not fully staffed. He's also responsible for making sure that we are doing everything supposed to do in a procurement, but putting those packages together for you when we have people come in for bids to make sure we're an inclusive community, and we appreciate all your work that you've done so far, Mr. Lawson. Our next person is J.T. Rickerson. J.T. Rickerson was also a newly department that we created. He's the Director of Code Enforcement. JT is a jack of many trades, and I'm sure a lot of you, when you get calls, sometimes you say code enforcement can handle that, and he gets that a lot. So we're trying to define his duties and his roles and responsibilities because he has a lot to do. But he's doing a wonderful job of navigating us through the blight process, and we're on number 8283 right now, and he's got hundreds of more on his list that we're progressing very well. And JT, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for your representation on code enforcement. Our final, and it's the first time I've seen this picture. Our final is Sharice Stevens. She's the Director of Office of Small Business Affairs. I'm looking forward to her report in the next several months because I know that she's been very busy at signing up new businesses and getting them certified. She's received several awards lately. I'm not going to go into all the wonderful awards she's received and all the good work she's doing in our community with the youth and everyone else. So we certainly appreciate her being here tonight. And she will also be providing information to each and every one of you as her role develops there at the Small Business Affairs. So this time, if you don't mind, I'd like to give all of them a hand. I'll come down and take a picture in just a moment with those, but I wanted to let you get a look at what we've done this year, the good quality people that I believe that we have hired in our community. I owe a great deal of gratitude to. I was hoping to have your announcement on the new fire chief tonight, but I will say that we had about 30 applicants, and we've been going through those, and we'll be prepared possibly in the next week or so to provide you the recommendation for the fire chief. So that's something that's certainly on my mind, and we've been going through the process that we have here. So at this time, I'm going to, I'll go ahead and adjourn, but I want to come down and take some pictures with this group if we don't mind. So if there's no other business that brings us before you tonight, this meeting is hereby adjourned.